Hi, I'm Distorted, and this is No Jumper. My name is Anya Zaira Santana, but I like for people to call me Santana or Distorted. Like, my name's too weird and too awkward to say the whole thing, so I like Distorted. I'm from Dominican Republic and Philadelphia. I grew up in the hood, basically. Didn't really have much. I started working like when I was 12, just like so I could buy some Jordans. I used to work at a nail salon. I used to like braid hair. So my upbringing is the hood. Dad was I don't know how to say this. Really did illegal things. My mom was with him, whatever. She was a part of it, but he was deported when I was 12. He got locked up for a couple years. It was like 10 years, and then he got deported. I lived in America, and then my mom sent me back to DR. And I lived in Dominican Republic until I was like 4 years old. Then I came back to America. So Spanish was like my first language. I was in bilingual classes until like 3rd grade, and then I finally switched over to regular. I love DR. It's like that's my background, but America has more opportunities. When you go to DR, it's like going back in time. Like they don't got flat screen TVs and like I don't know the shit that we have. iPhones, they're so like outdated. This shit's crazy. I would never want to like actually like live there. So I'm grateful for my mom to like bring me back to the States and let me grow up here. Cause my older brothers and sisters, they had to live in DR. Philadelphia area is the hood. It's like a lot of crackheads, a lot of mean people. I think the East Coast is like that in general. It's way different from the West Coast. I think it just gives you tough skin and kind of like prepares you for the real world. You know, I might seem special to people online, but in the city, it's like you're a regular ass person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm from like Mars. I don't feel like where I grew up at, Dominican Republic, Philly, the area around there. It's like I'm from outer space. I don't think a place determines who I am. I went before. I went to California like 2 years ago after I got pregnant. A while ago. I stayed for a whole week just to see if it was somewhere that I would want to live. And I was like, fuck no. I was always drawing as a kid. That was just like my pastime. Like, we had so many people in our house. My mom has 8 kids. So when she finally got like the papers to get my 4 older brothers and sisters over to the States, our house was full. So it was just like she had no time for nobody really. And like art was my escape. I don't think she had time to pay attention to me, to be honest. Like I think she had too much shit going on to even acknowledge it until I started actually making moves. She was like, oh, okay. No, I didn't take no special classes in school for art. What I noticed in my art classes though is that my teachers would always like, my one teacher in 5th grade, she would mention like the pinky finger. She was like, artists always have that like, she's like, you have that like, I don't know, that touch, like little artist pinky finger. And she would just gas my head up every time I would go to art class. And when I won 2nd place in a art competition, that's when I was like, yeah, I might have something. And then my mom kind of was like, what career are you gonna do as an artist? Like you're gonna go to college for what? And I was like, even though she didn't pay for my college, it was like, in Dominican households, like you need to honor your parents. This is so off subject, but I was in the strip club in Houston, and I posted a video of me throwing ones and, you know, ass everywhere. That shit spread all over to my family. My mom was so disappointed. I had to delete the whole video, all this stuff. So it's like, in Dominican culture, it's extremely strict. So it's like psychology. My mom looks at art like, what the fuck? You know, she doesn't really understand it. I went to Caldwell 4 years of college, psychology. I was always interested into art, but honestly, in college, I was in party mode most of the time. So I wasn't really thinking about my future. I just wanted to party. I started venturing with art, graffiti, and it took me here somehow. I was dating someone who was really involved in that culture. He introduced me to a lot of people in that culture, like skaters. There's like there's an underground culture in Philadelphia that a lot of people do not know about, and that was like my hangout spot every week. And we just go tag stuff, go in abandoned buildings. We went into the Tasty Cake Factory one time, was tagging stuff in there. I don't know, this is like my lifestyle at one point in time. Graffiti's intense. Like, you have to always like look around, see if somebody's about to fucking come and try to, I don't know, arrest you or whatever. I like the adrenaline rush, but to be honest, I prefer to sit in a room and paint in peace with music or acid, I don't know. The first thing I experimented with was shrooms and tea. Didn't really like how I felt off that. It was cool, but I felt like weird. I felt like a rubber band, kind of. I don't know. Then I tried acid, and I liked it a little bit too much. I think it was like a triple dose. I don't know, it was a triple tab or whatever. And it like totally blew my mind, and I was like, that's it after that. It made me more fearless. I think I've always suffered with anxiety. So it kind of made me face that whole anxiety shit, like head on. It took a lot of like mental strength to kind of just be like, yo, this isn't reality. This is fucking weird, but this is cool at the same time. It was just like a lot. I've done acid and went to the lake, sat by the lake. I went to go see a 3D film. It was cool. I've done a lot of cool things on acid, but the one time I took too much acid, it was like, what the fuck? Like, it was the craziest experience. I don't know, for some reason, I had to be naked, and I just didn't want clothes on me. I didn't want nothing on me, and like, everything was just completely in motion. It was just like, I could not like just stand still. It was like so intense. And then like, I think I sat in my like crib. Usually when I'm on acid, I like being outside. I felt like it was just too much that I couldn't go outside. So I just sat in my apartment and was just looking at this blanket, just moving, and just for like, I swear, like an hour or 2 hours just looking at it, like what the fuck? And like trying to like not freak out at the same time. So that's when I figured I needed to like just chill and stay on my level. I won't do crack or heroin, but I like to just experiment. I live my life to the fullest, completely. In 2014, 13, when I started working with Action Bronson, actually like acknowledged me, and I did a couple, like an art piece for him and like a little animation video. He saw my artwork and he was just retweeting it and posting it on his page, and he helped me a lot. And then I guess Erykah Badu saw it after that, and she started acknowledging me, and then it kind of just escalated from there. I don't know her personally. I would love to get to know her personally, but I'll always appreciate her just even recognizing me without me having to reach out to her. It was just cool. I'm still gassed about that. Like, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. It's like she's never gonna grow old. It's like she's timeless in a way. I like how she's non-judgmental about shit. Some people be like, oh, you do this type of art, you're a demon, you're possessed, or you're a crackhead, you do drugs, you're like acid. She's just non-judgmental, which is cool. When X first came out, he was Make Out Hill. Nobody knew what he looked like. I forgot what his Avi was, but it was just like he didn't post any pictures of himself at all. So I used to be in Miami a lot, like all the time, to do shows, do parties. I think I did like an event with my friend Betty. She's from Florida. I heard his song and I was like, yo, this shit is fire. So I was just like, at that time, I guess I've always had like a little bit of clout, but not a lot. And I posted it on my page. We talked online a couple times. I think we always like connected spiritually as far as like our interests in art, and I don't know, it's just like, I don't know, when you talk to somebody, you can just connect with them automatically just off of like the vibes that they give off. So I felt that off of him. By the time like he became public, he just like blew up. I don't know, it's like, oh yeah, I had so many people attack me online because of that. I was like, what the fuck? But I've always fucked with him. That's the thing. Even before anybody even knew who he was at one point. Shit, Look At Me was old as shit. Look At Me came out a long time ago. And I had a lot of female, like, activists, like, for abusers and stuff, like, attack me because of that and say that I support all of the shit he was doing. So, I don't know. It was a lot, but I don't give a fuck. I don't think what a person does defines them. It's the fact that he tried to change who he was as a person, and he did try to make a positive like effect on everyone. I think some people disregard that. My art is a little bit more peaceful. When I first started, it was kind of just like really tormented and like, what the fuck, you know, this bitch is crazy type of shit. I think after I moved out of Philly and I came to Cali, it kind of just, I don't know, environment means a lot. I think my environment kind of just like kind of toned me down a little bit. I think artists always go through phases. Like Picasso went through so many phases. Was it Picasso? Yeah. It was the blue phase. And the blue phase was like depressing. So I feel like I just go through the motions. I might go back to my dark shit, I might not. Right now I'm on some psychedelic shit. I've always been on some psychedelic shit, but when you grow up, not having like your dad is writing you from jail and sending you art from jail, and you're getting inspired by the art from jail. It's just like a whole different mindset, and just like me feeling like I always had to take care of myself. For me to get to where I'm at in art is extremely difficult for someone who doesn't have a lot of money or have like rich parents to back them up to do, you know, invest in this and this and that. My shit was straight hustle, like go, like when I did that thing with Nike, that collab for Air Max Day, I actually had a meeting with Nike like 2 years ago, and I actually went into their office and talked to them, and they turned me down that day. And was like, they didn't really turn me down, it was like, we'll get back to you. And then like 2 years later, they hollered at me. So it's just like, I think it's just all hustle. I'm really good at hustling. It's like my specialty. I had a reputation online for just being crazy, and I think my fans just accepted it at this point because I've been doing it for so long. To me, it's just being myself. Because, like, a lot of the times I'll say something, I'm like, fuck, why the fuck did I say that? Oh, my God. And I'd be so hard on myself. Then I'll go online and be like, oh, my God, I'm sorry. Da-da-da-da. And everybody's like, oh, no, it's okay. I think people are just used to me being like that. It's just part of my personality. But social media is definitely not an art project. That's me entirely. I say whatever's on my mind. And it could be a good and a bad thing, because I've lost a lot of opportunities for it, and my manager calls me a lot about it too. I used to throw art parties all the time. I had one in Atlanta For some reason, when I throw parties in Atlanta, they be super turned. Like I had OJ Juice Man perform at one of my parties, and then that James. That was like a couple years ago. So I had like a party in Atlanta. I was really a part of the underground like world or whatever. And Made in Tokyo was there, and I was selling hoodies and like artwork, and he bought one of my hoodies, and I met him there. Then there was South by Southwest. I had an event at South by Southwest. I met him at a party. It was 40 Ounce Bounces party. It was like a big mansion party and whatnot, and we kicked it from there. It's like, oh shit, what the fuck? I loved him, so I still love him. I always love him, even though we're not together. I felt like our child was made out of like a mutual just love between me and him. It felt right, and I wanted to keep my kid because my kid was made out of love. Motherhood has made me appreciate life more, take care of myself more, because back then I was really reckless as fuck. Sometimes I'd be surprised I wake up in the morning like, oh, you survived that? Oh shit, like I was reckless. I just wanna grow as an artist and be taken seriously in the art world. I'm good with the underground culture, but it's a different level when you're going to fine art and you wanna be in museums or, I don't know, on some cause shit or Takashi. If I don't know if people know this, but those people are really old. Like Yayoi Kusama, old as shit. It takes a long time to get to that point. I think I'm trying to bring back the phase when Basquiat was around and Keith Haring, and it was embraced for like young people to do art and young people who don't have a lot of wisdom to blow up. I think art has changed a lot throughout the years, and maybe it's not appreciated as much as it should be. I told this to Fader before. I think as a female artist, in order to make it in a career that's ran by masculinity, you almost have to be a little bit masculine and not so pussy feminine, or like, okay, that's fine. It's like you have to make demands. Like, yo, I want it like this, and like that. You can't take no shit from nobody. You gotta work 10 times as hard as everybody else, because if you don't, they're not gonna respect you. So you basically have to make people respect you. And I think the more you do, the better. I'm not saying that I'm the smartest person in the room, but like I'm able to teach myself to do whatever it is I want to do, and I love art. So it took me like 4 years to get to the level of animation that I did without going to school for it. So it takes time. You gotta work on it every day, and gotta be yourself. And you gotta not be afraid to break the rules. Like a lot of people like to do like the easy route, like do the sweet art. Sometimes the more hardcore it is, the more honest it is, the better. You connect to more people. I hope that I encourage people from, I don't know, lower class, like just people all over the world to go after their dreams, especially like people who don't come from normal households, people who are going through depression, because I went through depression, anxiety. I want them to learn to channel that energy into something else instead of fucking freaking out or, I don't know, doing too many drugs or wanting to kill yourself. You can channel that energy into something. You never know what you could do. You change the world, you change your life. There's always a positive like outlook on stuff. It's not the end of the world. You can change it, but that's honestly up to you. I've had a lot of dark times. I've had a lot of times where I did a lot of drugs and I just hated myself, and art just like saved my life. And I hope that people seeing my growth and me being able to teach myself all these things in art can help encourage you to believe in yourself, because honestly, you can do whatever you put your mind to.